shut down. Well, here we are. Now we can focus on the fear of the pandemic, which is a real fear. And we can feel the pain of all the things that we can't do, which is just about everything except with others living in our own home. The other day I shared that for the people of faith, there's also a great opportunity. We get to slow down in this season that we usually, ironically in the church, add more activities while we give up other stuff. We get to engage in Sabbath. In our culture of faster and incessant activity and engagement, we get to do stuff that we have been putting off. Unless traveling is one of those things that we've been putting off, and we still get to put that off. But I mean things like all those little things. The excuses are gone. I mean like dusting off the guitar, piano, accordion. There's somebody out there. The comb and engaging in that inner musician, or the one that we put on pause because life is just too hectic. I mean reading that book that keeps making its way to the bottom of the stack, or those magazines that you say you need to read, and so don't throw them away or recycle them because those 4 articles or so is something that is actually probably out of date now. But the reality is it may be helpful while we're waiting on that Zoom call to populate. We now have small talk. I mean removing that stack of clothes that's hanging on the treadmill or the elliptical and use it for what it's actually intended for. Just throw the clothes where they belong, on the spare bed. I mean learning to juggle. Just don't use the fresh fruit that you bought. It may be a while before you can get more. I mean the slow walks with people close to you, your spouse, your kids, your friends, using appropriately social distance if you're not living in the same house, of course. I mean making the gourmet meal while you still have enough fresh ingredients. The mystery meal comes in about 13 days, but now's your time to practice. This could be a time of great opportunity if we allow it. So during our second day in quarantine, what's your opportunity? You know, we've been talking about the different habits. So we have the gift of stop. We have real Lenten Sabbath. It's imposed upon us, but we can choose not to take it, or we can choose to be able to take it. And so pause, stop, engage the Sabbath, tune in, listen to that still small voice of God. Find that frequency, that God frequency. Worship. You have time now. And whether you play your own music or you check out all the YouTube channels, now we can look for all of those crazy videos, and that's okay too. But to engage your time of worship, find a style of music that helps you connect to God. Or maybe try a new one. That way you can appreciate how others connect with God. Whether it's from Bach to rock, Bethel to rockabilly, Hillsong to Lecrae, Gaithers to the Upper Room Prophetic. But find that worship. And then serve. Find a need and fill it. Be a blessing to those around you. As we talked Sunday, begin with prayer. Just talk to God. How can I do this? I'm limited. Those things that I normally would do, I can't do anymore. And then you listen. Listen to those around you. Listen to that still small voice of God. Eat. Now, we may not be able to go out to eat, but maybe we can log on using FaceTime or Zoom or other medias to be able to connect with people that we normally wouldn't. Maybe it may be a new practice or something. And then we serve, finding those simple ways to serve. And there'll be opportunities then that we'll be able to share our story of faith. Paul, in writing to the church to Ephesus and to us today, writes in Ephesians 6:16 through 17. He reminds us, make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. Then he wraps up in verse 20 and he says, give thanks for everything God the Father in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. You know, these days are going to pass. This will be a memory that we will share one day. But let's make the most of these opportunities and live into who we are and live into the faith. So what memories will you make in this time? How will you engage in this opportunity? How will you allow that still small voice of God to be heard and recognized, not just in this time, But in moving forward, as we're the scattered people of God, let us make a difference out there. We get a chance to really reset, make some new habits, engage in some new opportunities we normally wouldn't. Hey, thanks. Let's make a difference out there.